Have you ever wondered what it feels like when the entire ground beneath your feet starts shaking violently? Today we are going to count down the 10 most powerful earthquakes ever recorded in human history. These aren't just little tremors. These are cataclysmic events that have reshaped landscapes, triggered massive tsunamis, impacted millions of lives. The sheer power we're talking about is almost impossible to comprehend. We're going from an 8.6 magnitude all the way up to the most powerful earthquake ever. Each one gets crazier and more destructive than the last. You will not believe the devastation these quakes have caused. We're going to explore the science, the stories. Kicking off our list at number 10, we have the 1950 Assam, Tibet earthquake. And let me tell you, this was an absolute monster. On August 15th, 1950, a colossal magnitude 8.6 earthquake ripped through the mountainous region bordering India and China. The energy released was so immense it was like thousands of nuclear bombs going off all at once. This wasn't just a little rumble. The ground shook so violently it caused some of the most massive landslides ever witnessed by humans. Entire mountainsides just collapsed. Imagine living in a quiet village, and suddenly the very mountain you live on starts to crumble and slide away. The destruction was absolutely widespread, affecting huge areas across Assam, in India, Tibet, and China. Coming in at number 9, we're jumping forward to 2005 with the Sumatra earthquake. This beast also registered a magnitude of 8.6, tying with our number 10 spot, but its location and impact were incredibly significant. This quake struck on March 28, 2005, off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. This region is part of the Ring of Fire, one of the most seismically active zones on the entire planet. When that stress was released in 2005, the result was devastating. The earthquake killed around 1,313 people, primarily on the Indonesian island of Nias. But just like the last quake, the shaking was only part of the story, because it happened under the ocean. For number 8, we're heading to a remote and freezing corner of the world, the Rat Islands in Alaska. On February 4th, 1965, this sparsely populated island chain was rocked by a massive magnitude 8.7 earthquake. This is a significant jump in power from the 8.6 quakes we just saw. The magnitude scale is logarithmic, so an 8.7 is significantly more powerful. We're talking about a huge increase, in the amount of energy being unleashed from the Earth's crust. The Rat Islands are part of the Aleutian Islands arc, a major subduction zone. On Shemya Island, U.S. Air Force Station, waves reached around 10 meters, 33 feet. That's as tall as a 3-story building. The 1965 Rat Islands quake was a monster that, by luck of geography, resulted in damage, but no deaths. Number 8. Now we're cranking up the power. At number 7, we have the 1906 Ecuador-Colombia earthquake, which registered a massive magnitude of 8.8. This earthquake struck on January 31, 1906, off the coast where modern-day Ecuador and Colombia meet. This region is another part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, where the Nazca Plate is diving under the South American Plate. The stress that had been building up for centuries was released in one catastrophic moment, causing the seafloor to violently lurch upwards. The shaking itself caused significant damage along the coast, but the real killer was the tsunami that followed. Cracking the top 6, we have our second earthquake from Chile, and our second 8.8 magnitude quake on the list, the 2010 Bio earthquake. This monster struck on February 27, 2010, and it was a terrifying wake-up call for a nation that is no stranger to massive quakes. The epicenter was just off the coast of central Chile. The shaking was felt intensely across 6 different regions of the country, home to about 80% of the nation's population. This was a direct hit on a populated area. The shaking was not only powerful, but also incredibly long. It lasted for about 3 minutes in some places. I want you to just pause and think about that. Try to imagine the ground beneath you shaking violently and uncontrollably for 3 straight minutes. The psychological terror of that alone is immense, let alone the physical destruction happening all around you. We are now entering the top 5, and this is where we cross a legendary threshold, the 9.0 magnitude barrier. At number 5, the 1952 Kamchatka earthquake. A 9.0 releases more than double the energy of an 8.7, putting us in a whole new league of power. The quake happened in a sparsely populated area, so shaking damage in Russia was limited. But the underwater rupture was gigantic, spawning one of the 20th century's biggest Pacific tsunamis. The disaster spurred the creation of the Pacific Tsunami Warning System. The 1952 Kamchatka quake is a textbook teleseismic tsunami. Remote epicenter, global consequences. At number 4, we have an earthquake that is burned into the memory of the entire world, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake in Japan. Magnitude 9.0, struck March 11, 2011. Epicenter about 70 kilometers off the coast, undersea megathrust rupture. The shaking was felt across Japan and shifted Honshu 2.4 meters to the east. It also shifted the Earth's axis by roughly 10 to 25 centimeters. Let that sink in. Buildings across Japan swayed violently but largely held due to strict codes. Minutes later, a gigantic tsunami slammed the east coast. Waves reached up to 40.5 meters, taller than a 12-story building. Black water filled with debris traveled up to 10 kilometers inland, wiping out towns. Entering our top 3, one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. At number 3, the 2004 Sumatra Andaman earthquake, the Boxing Day quake, December 26, 2004. A colossal magnitude 9.1 ruptured the seafloor off northern Sumatra, Indonesia. The fault that slipped was an unbelievable 1,300 kilometers long. That's the distance from Paris to Rome. The seafloor thrust upward by meters, displacing an unimaginable volume of water. The shaking was widespread, but the true horror was the tsunami it generated. This was not regional, it was global. Tsunami waves radiated across the entire Indian Ocean, striking 14 countries with little to no warning. Our runner-up for the most powerful earthquake ever is the 1964 Great Alaska Earthquake. Magnitude 9.2. It struck the Prince William Sound region on Good Friday, March 27, 1964. At the time, it was the most powerful earthquake recorded in North America and held the top spot worldwide for years. The sheer scale was staggering. Its effects were felt across the globe. The most terrifying aspect was the duration. The ground shook violently for about 3 minutes. Most strong earthquakes last seconds. 3 full minutes of continuous, violent shaking is an eternity. The ground liquefied in places, turning solid earth into a soupy mess. Huge fissures and cracks opened up across the landscape. Entire sections of land dropped by as much as 11 meters. We have finally arrived at number 1, the undisputed champion, the most powerful earthquake ever recorded by humanity. The 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile. On May 22, 1960, the ground in southern Chile began to rupture. The magnitude was almost incomprehensible. 9.5. To put this in perspective, the energy released was equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs. It accounted for a huge percentage of all seismic energy released worldwide in the 20th century. The quake happened as the Nazca Plate thrust beneath the South American plate. But on a scale never seen before or since, the fault rupture stretched over 1,000 kilometers. That's like the entire coast of California slipping at once. So there you have it, the 10 most powerful earthquakes ever recorded. From an 8.6 that moved lakes in Norway, to the 9.5 in Chile that killed people on the other side of the world, the power we've witnessed is just insane. And remember what I said at the start. For every new subscriber during this video, we're making a donation to a disaster relief charity that helps people affected by events just like these. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button right now. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.